I'm just trying to bring back fairness to my sport and trying to make sure that young girls won't be in the same situation that I have been, feel the same pain that I have felt.
That was Selina Soul, a young woman fighting back against unfairness in women's sports, where so many female athletes across the nation are being forced to compete against biological males in the name of equity. The latest story happening in Maine, where a trans high school track athlete went from 172nd place in the boys division to 4th in the girls division after transitioning from male to female. Joining us now to discuss is high school track athlete and women's sports advocate Selina Soul. Also here with us is Alliance Defending Freedom Senior Counsel Christina Kiefer. Ladies, welcome to Wake Up America. Selina, first of all, I think you're very brave for doing this. This is a conversation that we need to have, and a lot of young women are afraid to speak up. In addition, parents. I want to start with you. We've seen controversy over the issue growing. Could a possible solution, maybe to have trans athletes compete against other trans athletes, be let just, girls have their own sports and trans athletes compete against trans athletes?
Thank you for having me on. Ultimately, women's sports need to remain as women's sports. Men are physically superior to women in every way, and that allows them to have a clear advantage over us in an athletic competition. And it's just devastating that 5 years after I encountered this issue, after I started speaking out, that this is still an ongoing fight. I was forced to compete against 2 biological males throughout all 4 years of high school. I raced against them dozens of times, and I was never close a single time to winning. And it's just heartbreaking that more and more girls are having to go through this experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Christina, the Maine Principals Association says students are allowed to compete with the gender they identify as, unless such participation would result in an unfair athletic advantage. Whatever happened to Title IX protection for women and girls, and how is this not an advantage that this athlete has? The fact that, if you look at where they placed when they were competing against boys to now girls, you don't just have that dramatic increase in speed.
You're exactly right. There's a clear biological advantage here, and that's the whole reason we have Title IX in the first place. It was passed more than 50 years ago to ensure that girls like Selina, girls like the young women in the state of Maine, have fair athletic opportunities and get to showcase their talents and be on the podium. There are clear physical differences between the sexes. That's the whole reason we have women's sports as a separate category.
Selina, you said that you went through this years ago when you were in high school. What were other athletes, other female athletes, saying to you about this? And what's the response been over the time that you've been speaking up?
Back when I was competing in high school, nobody thought it was fair that we were forced to compete against these biological males, but everyone was too afraid to speak up. And I said that if nobody is going to stand up, then I need to do it for myself, because I know that this is not fair. And I know that I need to be a voice for everyone out there. And I've gotten nothing but support from my community since I started speaking out. I've gotten messages of love and support from across the world in the 5 years I've been doing this. And I'm just incredibly encouraged by everyone that has since joined me in this fight to protect women's sports.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is so courageous. I have 3 girls. They're all athletes, Selina. And, you think about some of these athletes that hope to play in college. They hope to go and get a scholarship, a D1, D2, or maybe even go farther. And they work their whole lives for it. But then when they get into high school, that could be shattered because they're going up against somebody who clearly biologically has an advantage. What does that say to young girls?
It's devastating that young girls are having to go through this, and it's incredibly challenging knowing that you can be displaced from a qualifying meet to have another time to improve your athletic performance. But the question now is when is it enough? How many girls need to be displaced for us to finally have a policy that ensures that no other girl has to go through this? Are we going to soon see the complete eradication of women's sports because of this? I've been doing this for so long, and I'm encouraged by the progress that I am seeing, but we need to do more and protect every single girl in this country.
I absolutely agree. Christina, we're seeing this, we're talking about Maine. We've seen it in Pennsylvania. We're seeing it across the country. What are you hearing, and what are people saying to you?
I mean, I think people across the country are outraged by the fact that we're seeing young women displaced in their own sports. These policies are clearly anti-woman, they're clearly anti-science, and unfortunately, they're being pushed by the highest levels of our government. The Biden administration has proposed changes to Title IX that would radically reshape women's sports across the United States. This is, again, anti-woman. There are clear physical differences between the sexes, and that's why we all must stand up and speak out to protect women's sports.
Yeah, I just wonder where the women are who, were all for women's rights, where they are now. Selina Soule and Christina Kiefer, thank you so much. Selina, keep up the good work. Great job. Thank you.